Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be comparing the new Ford Ranger to the Nissan Frontier. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Ken Garff Nissan in Orem and the Large Miller Ford here in Provo for giving me some time with both of the trucks. I'll include a link to both their websites in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood of the Ford, we have a turbocharged 2.3-liter four-cylinder that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 270 horsepower and then 310 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Nissan is a 3.8-liter V6 naturally aspirated that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 310 horsepower and then 281 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention, if you're going to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So both of these trucks, in my opinion, have some of the best off-road mid-size pickup truck stuff from the factory. Just look at the front ends. Notice how the fog lights with both of the trucks are a little bit higher up than what you see on some other trucks in the segment. And then notice they both have solid protection from the factory. You can see the skid plates there with the Frontier, tow hooks at the bottom. Same thing with the Ranger, all really durable stuff. And so, yeah, the front ends of them, I think they both look cool. You can see the Ranger's more rounded off with the C-shaped lights, whereas the Frontier, it's very boxy with the design. I mean, look at the headlights, for example, but I think they both look cool, and they both have practical off-road stuff. Now, around the side here, our tire wheel setup with the Ranger is 255 by 70 by 17 in the front and over in the rear. You can see here with the wheels, you got the metallic gray. We've got these all-terrain tires here. I like the fender flares, how those are painted in metallic gray. Got the fixed side step. And then popping to the rear, you can see with the leaf spring setup. And you got FX4 here in the back. And then you got the cool bedside step as well with the Ranger. And then here's your side view. It's got a nice stance front to rear. Now at the Frontier, our tire wheel setup is 265 by 70 by 17 in the front and over in the rear. You can see with the wheels, you got the silver with the darker element there in the center. I think that looks really sharp. And look at the tire there, a nice all-terrain tire. Got the big chunky fender flare here with a little mud flap. Fixed side steps here. You can remove those sections to turn it into just a rock rail, by the way. Pro 4X, leaf springs just like the Ranger, by the way. And then here's your full side view. I do think this truck looks a little bit cooler from the side perspective. I mean, look at the proportions. Now, starting off with Nissan, tailgate goes down pretty fast, but it is dampened. Got nice protection here. You can see same thing with the bed as well. Got an outlet here in the bed. Those are for all the cargo tie downs, the sliders, and all of that. So definitely nice setup. And lifting up the tailgate, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's easy. Popping over to the Ranger, tailgate slow lowers down, just like the front. Supposed to slow down. You've got the outlets here. No protection with this one, but you can get it if you want. And then lifting up this tailgate, it's got a ruler on it. A little bit easier to lift up. Taillight design. I think they both look cool. I think the taillights here on the Frontier a little bit snazzier. You can see with the bumpers on them. Contrast with the Ranger compared to everything being body painted with the Frontier. Both of them have exhaust tips that stick out the side, funny enough. Now, legroom in the back of the Frontier is pretty solid. I mean, there's decent knee space. The seat is a little bit lower down, though, so my knees are kind of pushed up a bit. But I do like this trim here in the door panel quite a bit. And then I like these Pro 4X seats. Got nice stitching here, cloth trim down the center. And then we do have a manual window, by the way. And then headroom, solid. Legroom in the back of the Ranger. I think it's a little bit better because similar space, but my knees are in a more comfortable position. And then you can see with the trim there on the door panel. You got these cloth seats. Not as cool looking as the Frontiers, but still nice seats nonetheless. And then headroom, solid. Starting up ye olde Frontier. Nice V6 sound. I like the door trim on it. All of your window controls in this trim down here is cool too. Blind spot ring with the mirrors. Payload on it is 1,100 pounds. And then nice solid sound closing. This does have stuff like hill descent control, rear locking differential, you know, all the off-road goodies. Tow haul mode as well. And then look at this with the steering wheel. Pretty rugged looking design. I like the material use. Everything in the Frontier and the midsize pickup truck segment just feels so durable compared to the competition. And then there's your gauge cluster, mostly analog. You do have a screen there that you can see different bits of info and stuff with the truck. Pretty cool setup. And this does come with a 360 camera system. A little bit older with the resolution, but gets the job done. If I press the camera button, it'll give me more views. But yeah, infotainment system, you know, it does take a second for some of the stuff to load up, but overall it's pretty easy to use. Can turn off the auto stop start, by the way. It does have that. Dual zone climate with this. Again, physical heated, cooled, or not cooled seats, but heated seats, heated steering wheel. I mean, and then you can see 2-speed transfer case with this. Just traditional. Shifter for that 9-speed wireless phone charging pad. This is nice with a center console trim. And then look at the trim across the dash. That's cool. Like that says Pro 4X on the seat, by the way. Really cool looking. And the nice bolstering here. The seats. And then MSRP on this is $46,455. Let's pop over into the Ranger. And with the Ranger, yep, we gotta put the key in the ignition. Cool startup. See the door panel, nice trim that goes across. Blind spot monitoring in the mirrors, just like the Frontier. 1,567 pounds of payload, so quite a bit more payload. Solid sound with the door, just like the Frontier. Steering wheel is a little bit more like modern looking, a little bit more Ford-like, because it's a Ford. Okay, I get it pops with the fuel economy warning sometimes. But yeah, nice trim all around. You got stuff like your adaptive cruise control. You can see the stocks here on the back. Gauge cluster is more digital than the Frontiers, that's for sure, because there's only a little bit of kind of like more analog elements, and so yeah, a little bit more, I guess, futuristic, right? 360 camera system with it. I think the Frontiers is a little bit easier to use than the Rangers, but the Ranger has better resolution. And the other thing with the Ranger is it has off-road stuff, so I can press this and then I'll pop up the off-road camera, which is pretty cool. And this does come just like the Frontier, rear locking differential. It also has off-road cruise control. Dual zone climate, heated seats, and you've got physical climate controls. Wireless phone charging pad, just like the Frontier. See with the shifter here for the 10-speed. Parking brakes, some cup holder action, 2-speed transfer case. Very similar trucks. See the seat bolstering is even similar. Interesting with this cloth trim. And we got a pretty big glove box. Nice storage above. And then we actually do have a power sliding window, so that's one thing the Ranger has over the Frontier. And then MSRP on this is $45,795. So with that being said, let's take them out and see which one drives the best. Nissan Frontier. Let's talk about visibility. Here's the hood. Both the mirrors, dual blind spot monitoring. And at the rear. Let us set off. Frontier is the most old school pickup truck, mid-size pickup truck you can buy. Hydraulic steering, naturally aspirated engine, and it's built on a platform that was developed like over 2 decades ago. So it's got that old school rugged truck feel that I personally love. Is the steering heavy? Yeah. Does it have that kind of chunky, heavy feel? Yeah. But it feels like a real truck. And it's reliable like one, too. Or like one ought to be, right? This V6, it's got great torque. Smooth, too. And the suspension's comfortable. Seats are comfortable in the Frontier. Overall, it's just a nice drive. I think that Nissan's done a really good job with this truck. And it handles pretty well for... Yeah, and that's good power. And it's just so linear because naturally aspirated V6, big displacement, 3.8 liter. Such a smooth powertrain. You really can't beat it. And, you know, let's just go over like the bumps here. Again, the suspension just handles it so well. The only thing is when you're at like really low speeds here, can see the steering. You got to turn it a bit. It's probably gonna look effortless on video, but again, it does have a heavier feel to it than modern vehicles with electric power steering. But you know what? Trucks, they're supposed to require a little bit of muscle to use. So that is the Frontier Pro 4X. Good old-fashioned pickup truck, but it's still brand new with a warranty. Can't go wrong. Ford Ranger. So there's your over the hood, both the mirrors, throughout the rear. And let's compare this to that Nissan Frontier. So first off, I think these seats are a little bit more comfortable than the Frontiers. So that's a benefit of the Ford. Steering's a whole lot lighter. It is a whole lot lighter. The truck doesn't feel any smaller. The Frontier, I feel like I sit lower in it versus the Ranger. I feel like I sit a little bit higher. But it seems, again, the Frontier is so old school with its handling and everything. This seems like it handles a little bit better. It feels like lighter on its toes, if that makes sense. Suspension dampening in terms of the comfort is pretty similar. Yeah, this doesn't have that same immediate response you get out of the 3.8 liter V6, but it's still a solid powertrain. It's got lots of torque. It's got more torque than the Frontier. So I think they've done a solid job from that perspective. Man, I got pretty lucky here. Traction control light went a little bit. I don't know if it's necessarily faster than the Frontier. It's weird, that Frontier, again, has a little bit more horsepower. Well, 40 more horsepower is quite a bit more, now that I think about it. But less torque, but this doesn't necessarily feel any torque here. Weird, it's super weird. So, guess we'll kind of go over that little bump. Yeah, again, pretty similar. And the steering is so much lighter, so much lighter. So yeah, the Frontier's drives a little bit more old school, but and so a little bit heavier steering, handling's not quite as sharp, but I like that engine more. This 2.3 is not bad, and this 2.3 is a proven engine. It's proven to be reliable, but I lean towards that V6, just that naturally aspirated power. It just feels so responsive, and I don't feel like I'm, you know, missing out because I don't have, and I'm at over 4,000 feet here. We're at like 4,500 feet roughly. So I don't feel like I'm missing out at all. So yeah, let me know if you go Ranger or Frontier, but I'm surprised how old school that is, how well that drives compared to this.